What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are continuing our playoff previews. And today we are staying in the Eastern Conference as we are taking a look at the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers as they take on the team that just secured the final playoff spot in this year's playoffs, the Washington Capitals. This is a nice, rich, historical rivalry in the Metropolitan Division. That is going to be probably something similar in this year's playoffs between these two teams. Hopefully, we're going to take a look at that today. So, looking at these two teams, the Rangers and the Capitals, these are two very good hockey teams. And I know a lot of people are going to give the disrespect to the Capitals, right? A lot of Ranger fans out there are pretty excited for this series. They're cocky because, listen, they won the President's Trophy. They're coming down the stretch. They played fairly well down the stretch. And this is a team that is going to be taking on whoever limped into the playoffs in that wild card spot in the East. But that's not necessarily how things unfolded. Now, the Capitals have not played their best hockey. Their past 10 games, sub 500, barely squeaking by to get in, and they definitely needed some help from teams like the Flyers and the Red Wings and the Penguins not being able to take care of their own business, and the Capitals were able to get in. But you got to give credit where it's due for the Capitals, because the Capitals are, again, there was 5 teams basically 2 days ago, 5 teams vying for that final spot, and the Capitals were the team to come out on top. So they must be doing something right here. Now, with that said, the Rangers, totally different story. The Rangers have known they were the first team to clinch a playoff spot, winning the President's Trophy. This is a historic season for the Rangers. This is the most wins they've had in franchise history, a historic 55 wins on the season. Like I said, that's the most in Rangers history. That's over 100 years for the Rangers. So the Rangers are obviously coming in. Last year, they remember what happened in the playoffs. They lost in the first round as kind of the favorite against the Devils. This is going to be a situation where they are the clear favorite in this series against the Capitals. But we've seen history tends to repeat itself. You look at last year's playoffs, it's not guaranteed just because you won the President's Trophy, you're playing the team that backed into the playoffs, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be an easy series, and for that matter, even a winning end of this series for your team. So, looking at both these teams, going back to the Capitals, how did the Capitals get here? The Capitals got here, they won the right games, which obviously helps. They beat the Red Wings last week in a pivotal game. Really the difference here has been 2 specific players in between the pipes and the scoring. And the scoring is obviously coming from the captain, Alexander Ovechkin. Ovechkin is really been his kind of renaissance down the stretch has really allowed the Capitals to have the playoff push that they've had. And if it wasn't for Ovechkin kind of coming down the stretch and playing the way he has, we're probably not talking about the Capitals right now. And Charlie Lindgren also needs a lot of credit here. He's not that he's the unsung hero, but the Capitals, he deserves a lot of the credit for the Capitals' success here. It's been a rough season for Darcy Kemper and some of the other goaltending there in Hershey that came up this year. It really came down to Charlie Lindgren doing what he did. And I remember when they signed him, I loved that signing. And it's starting to pay dividends for the Capitals and is allowing them to go on a run here. Now for the Rangers, like I said, we've known for a while they were going to make the playoffs. The key thing for the Rangers is special teams. And you want to talk about, there's a lot of series here where, certain teams are going to want to stay out of the box and certain teams are going to want that scuffle to create chaos, to avoid 5-on-5. And the Rangers are the definition of a team that's going to avoid 5-on-5 hockey. For some reason, the Rangers, specifically this year, but the last couple of years, it's been a struggle for the Rangers 5-on-5. And when you're purely reliant on power play goals, the Rangers are incredible on the power play and penalty kill. They're top 3 in both stats. But the problem is, the playoffs, we know the whistles tend to go away a little bit. And for the Rangers, they have to find a way to score 5-on-5 if they're going to win this series. As much as everyone says the maligned Capitals, how they kind of are a wounded animal walking into Madison Square Garden this weekend, they need to score 5-on-5. It won't matter. And Charlie Lindgren is hot right now. He's been playing really well. He got a shutout against the Bruins last week. This is a team that you cannot take lightly if you're the Rangers. The way they played against the Philadelphia Flyers the other day should be a message for this team. Like, we cannot play like that during the playoffs. And you got to take the Capitals that same way. You cannot take them lightly. You need to be ready for that series because the Capitals will be ready. And they have nothing to lose. They're the underdog. They have nothing to lose here. The Rangers have everything to lose in this series. And that's why for the Rangers, looking at the matchup against Lindgren, kind of segueing into who's going to start for the Rangers, it's pretty obvious. It'll be Shesterkin. Shesterkin's played really well this season. He had a rough start to the year, but as things started to turn into 2024, we saw his progression to the form we've seen from Igor Shesterkin being the guy for the Rangers. And that has allowed the Rangers to kind of go on the serious run that they have. You know, in the first half of the season, remember, this was a non-playoff team through October and November. And then as we got into Christmas time toward December, that's when the Rangers turned on the Jets, and they really never looked back after that. So like I was saying, the key thing here, you got to stay out of the box if you're the Capitals. You got to watch for Ovechkin and Lindgren. And not Ryan, Charlie Lindgren. There's going to be 2 Lindgrens in this series. I'm sure people will bring that up, and they'll make those stupid jokes of, oh, one of the Lindgrens is going to get to the second round. I can predict that. Okay, cool joke, but it's stupid. So anyway, the Rangers. What's the line to watch for the Rangers? It's pretty obvious. Now, the first line's been playing well. Zibanejad's been putting up points, but it's really that second line that's been the core of the New York Rangers this season. Vincent Trocheck down the middle, Artemi Panarin, and Alexis Lafreniere. Lafreniere has had an incredible season. This is the Lafreniere Rangers fans were looking for when they drafted him back in 2020. And he is playing like it. He's playing with so much confidence. Everything seems to be going in for this kid. He's in the right place at the right time. He's just got that sense right now. And playing with Panarin has really allowed him to extend his game. And let's not forget Panarin, right? He's got 100, what does he have, 130 points or something stupid, something ridiculous. It might be 100 assists for Panarin, or 99 assists or something like that. But either way, really good season for Panarin. Probably going to be a finalist for the Hart Trophy. If he's not, there's a lot of other good candidates out there, but he should be in that conversation at the very least. So that's what we're looking at there. With that said, what do I think this series is going to come down to? You know, at the end of the day, both these teams are really good hockey teams. And I think a lot of people are discrediting the Capitals. I do not think if the Rangers think this is going to be an easy series, they win this in 3, you got to temper your expectations. The playoffs are a different animal. You know, once you get to, we've seen it before, right? Your regular season stats don't matter in the playoffs. This is a completely new season. Wipe whatever you did during the regular season means basically nothing. Maybe your last 5 games, if you've been winning, it matters. And if you've lost all your last 5 games, that might matter. But neither of these teams are that. The Rangers have to assert dominance early in this series. They have to win those 2 games at home, and they got to probably find a way to split on the road in Washington. Because if you give the Capitals hope that they can truly win this series, the longer this series goes along, the more likely it is that the Capitals could win this series. And it's going to take a lot for the Capitals, because if this my prediction is that this series will end in 6 games, but that would mean that the road team would have to win specifically, right, somewhere, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But then the Capitals, in a situation like that, might have to win a Game 7 in Madison Square Garden, which is really, really difficult. So, looking at that, looking at special teams, I don't want to account it for everything. You know, let's be honest, the depth on both these teams has been, kind of a completely different story. The Capitals' depth has just not been there. I'm not really impressed with some of the depth. I know they've came up in spades. McElrath, Scarbosa. Love those guys from the Hershey Bears. They've been an empowering, energetic group coming up to help out the Capitals here down the stretch. But the Caps need to be healthy for the playoffs. And the Rangers are just the Rangers this year. I think the Rangers win this series in 6 games. I think they take it in Capital One Arena in 6. The Capitals have had a really good run this year, but I think Ovechkin is the lightning rod for this team. And if they don't get some scoring soon here, if they do not get enough scoring from Strome, Milano, and those other guys up top, this is not going to be a good series for the Capitals. I expect Charlie Lindgren to keep them in games. I respect everything he's done this year. I think he's going to keep them in this series. But I think the Rangers just have too much depth, too much talent throughout the lineup. And I think they're going to win this series in 6 games. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Who do you think is going to win this series between the New York Rangers and the Washington Capitals? A great Metropolitan Division matchup. We've seen these guys meet up in the past really in the Ovechkin era. They've met up plenty of times in the postseason, and I'm kind of excited. It's been a couple of years since we've seen this matchup, and I'm looking forward to it. So guys, that's going to do it for today. Stay tuned for some of my other playoff previews here over the next couple of days. Good luck to both teams, and I'll see you guys again next time. Peace out.